AITA for refusing to crochet something for my brother's future baby after years of teasing. Throwaway account. 24 meters, have never been like the other men in my family. I'm introverted, artistic, and would rather cosplay than play sports. At age 14 my great-grandmother moved in with us and she taught me how to crochet. I loved it, but my brothers, Jim, 27 meters, and Tim, 27 meters, used to tease me constantly for it when she wasn't around, and whenever I would complain my dad told me that life's full of people that are going to call me names and that I need to toughen up. I honestly think he was just disappointed that I wasn't an extroverted jock like him and his other sons, felt like he could just pressure me into becoming more like him. When my great-grandmother died she didn't have much, but she specifically left me her crochet hooks and I was very touched. She also left my cousin an unfinished baby socks that she was crocheting for my cousin's baby, and I could tell my cousin was disappointed. We kind of had this tradition of our great-grandmother making things for the coming babies. I offered to finish what our great-grandmother started, using her hooks, and my cousin was thrilled at the gesture. After that I kinda inherited the position of crocheting things for any new babies in the family, and I rather enjoyed it because I felt as if I was carrying on a legacy. Although, it did nothing to stop my immediate family from making jokes and calling me names. Despite the constant attacks against my sexuality, Jim, ironically, came out as gay and has since apologized for his past treatment of me, so we're on good terms, but Tim is still a jerk to me. When I went to college I went low contact with Tim and my father and would just tolerate them at family events. Last week Tim announced that he and his girlfriend, Tina, 24F, were engaged and expecting their first child over social media, and everyone was thrilled. During a Zoom meeting with the family, Tina said she would love a matching blanket, little hat and shoes for the baby from me, and I asked her to send me a copy of her registry for baby clothes. Tim laughed and said everyone knows that it's tradition that I make the items. I told him flat out that he doesn't get to make fun of my skills as a crocheter and then expect free labor from me. My dad said that I was being rude and needed to apologize. I countered that if Tim was hurt by my refusal to crochet for him then he should just toughen up and get over it, and then left the call. Since then I've been getting text messages from my parents and Tim saying that I'm being petty and a jerk to Tina and the baby, but I haven't responded. AITA for refusing to crochet something for my brother's baby after years of teasing. Edit. Okay, since I keep seeing this I'm just going to give some info. Yes, I am aware that you crochet with hooks and not needles. When my great-grandmother was teaching me she referred to them as a needle. Granted she obviously made a mistake, but when I was first learning it just stuck, so that what I always refer to them personally and I will correct it. Edit. For more info. For more information, the last time my dad and Tim made fun of / harassed me crocheting something was last year at Christmas. It's not like they stopped teasing me, calling me rude names, or questioning my manhood when I went to college. NTA, your dad sucks for not teaching his other kids to be kind. Well done for saying that to your dad. The other two are obvious assholes, but at least Jim has changed and apologized. Edit. Hi George. NTA. I crochet. It takes time, effort, skill, and money to crochet something that you feel is good enough to give to somebody else. So many people think that it's so easy and so fast and they don't value the labor it takes to make it. That alone is bad enough. You have members of your family that made fun of your skill and they do not get to benefit from it now unless they are sincere in their apology. They're not going to be because they want stuff. NTA, he's mocked you for years and now wants a gift of the very thing he's mocked. Seriously, that's just rude. Be tempted to give toxic brother a learn to knit kit and write a sweet little note that says how happy I am he's taking an interest in knitting. Then macho man can knit his own baby gear. NTA, isn't it quite typical? You aren't rude just because his arrogance came back to bite him. You told him exactly what to do for expressing an emotion. Toughen up. Isn't it quite typical? Yup, that's how people raise and then enable bullies. Just let the bully have what they want, it's easier. And then everyone is miserable because their lives have to revolve around appeasing a bully. AITA for refusing to buy a coworker lunch. I, 23M, have a coworker, 25M, who is a mooch. If you get something for lunch, he wants you to get him something too, but expects you to buy it for him because since you mentioned it, he says you offered. At first I thought maybe he had money problem, but then overheard him laughing and bragging to someone in another department about how he was able to scam lunches out of his coworkers, and he's attempted to bully a free meal out of someone more than once. His general entitled attitude is one of the many reasons I don't like him. So yesterday my girlfriend and I had lunch together. He overheard me confirming before I left and asked what I was bringing him, and I said nothing. He said I brought it up, and I corrected him. No, I was confirming we were still good, and he was eavesdropping on my conversation. He started complaining, so I had if he gave me money for his food I'd bring him something, but I wasn't going to buy him food. He started complaining about it again, and I got irritated and said no money no food, and then I left. When I got back my boss said my coworker complained I was being hostile. I told him what happened and how he's constantly trying to weasel free food out of people. Even some of the people he knows are struggling. So my boss asked around and several others collaborated what I said. My coworker got dragged into the office and now he's pissed that I narked and how he was just kidding. Most of the office thinks he got what he deserved, but a few think it wasn't worth getting him in trouble over. Today no one he asked told him what they were doing for lunch, and he's whining that we're alienating him. I said he alienated himself because of his behavior. He said I'm an asshole, but I don't really feel bad that a mooch who thinks it's funny to scam his coworkers thinks I'm an asshole. My little brother is on here a lot and suggested I post though, so AITA? NTA people that are just kidding, don't complain about hostility to the boss. He's just pissed his con stopped working, so no, I wouldn't worry what he thinks. It's absolutely worth getting him in trouble over when he's trying to get you in trouble. Protecting yourself from the scammer isn't a nothing to do at all. NTA, you didn't narc, he did. So if I understand correctly, some of your office thinks that it's fine for him to try to get you in trouble, but not fine for you to defend yourself with the truth. Guess you know who to avoid going forward. Definitely NTA. He got what was long overdue. It's not like you went out of your way to narc on him. He is the one who narked on himself by whining to your boss about you. Had he not brought up the issue and forced you to defend your actions, what did he think was going to happen? That you were just going to roll over and let your boss bollock you for no reason? None of this would have happened. Good on you for standing up for yourself and your coworkers and hopefully giving him a life lesson. NTA, he literally complained to the boss because you wouldn't buy him food, trying to get you in trouble. So you explained the truth to the boss. Not sure what he thought was gonna happen there. Prob thought the boss would A. just chew out op without checking things and not listen to op. B. that op would just let it slide by and say it would never happen again in order to avoid conflict. AITA for keeping my promise of training her kids like dogs when my cousin dumps them on me. I'm sorry if the title isn't accurate, I can't think of another description to describe the training. My cousin Amy, 25F, has 6M twins and has a nasty habit of dumping them onto relatives to babysit for the entire day without any warning or regard for their time. I, 27F, have a very strained relationship with her, but because my mom's side of the family demands that we all remain close-knit, so I have no choice to tolerate her. When she initially gave birth to them, she teased me that I'll have to take on babysitting duty from now on. I'm no good with kids, so I remarked to her that if I ever have them, I'll train them, not babysit. She brushed me off. The kids now are hella destructive and loud, pulling out stuffing inside furniture, holes inside walls, smashing anything glass and porcelain, screaming louder than a fire alarm, you name it. When it was my first turn to deal with them, I immediately walked with them to the store and grabbed the biggest bag of M&Ms I could find and trained them so that every time they follow my orders and behave, they get one. If they misbehave, I get one. Soon enough, every time the kids were dumped on me, they went with my guidelines and behaved. Whenever I say sit, they sit at the table. When I say stay, they don't leave that spot, etc. 2 days ago there was a party planned with the whole extended family. I know, pandemic. Didn't want to, but mom insisted, and I grabbed the M&Ms since the twins were there. Arrived, twins were being so destructive, an entire tray of food was spilled, that all the adults had enough and yelled at Amy to control them. She vomited the same excuse of them just being kids and they'll grow out of it eventually. I shouted the twins' names and shook my M&M bag. They came running over to me and I popped 6 pieces into my mouth for their misbehavior. I told them to go clean up the mess or no candy all night. They do so. Halfway through the party, every time something similar came up or they just weren't behaving, I was the one able to calm them down. When Amy saw what I was doing, she got angry and started yelling at me about how her children aren't animals and that I shouldn't be giving them so much candy anyway. I told her that I'm their aunt, not their parent. Why am I the one disciplining them? Isn't that her job? She screamed the same argument at me, and since she's their mother, to stop giving them candy. One of the twins overheard and went apeshit. Dashed straight into the kitchen and started shattering anything they can get his hands on, shouting over and over that he wants candy. His twin joined him soon after. I repeated that she's their mother, and just sat in the living room watching it all unfold. At the end, Amy blamed me for them turning out this way. The other relatives she dumped them on, a majority, disagreed, but when I told a friend about the situation, he told me that the training I did can really fuck up the kids mentally later in life. So, AITA? NTA. This is kinda funny. She's not a good parent for not discipling them herself. You told her they would be trained. They were. At least they have a system for discipline. Lol, in the education field we call this extrinsic motivators. Teachers do this all the time in a more subtle, less obvious way, i.e. without candy. Side note, honestly sounds like the kids need therapy. Amy is neglecting her children and that's a form of abuse. NTA. Edit. Updated language. Edit. To clarify, all schools and administrators are different. The school I was at, unfortunately, they didn't approve of rewards. I was scolded for it during an observation. I was then told by my teaching mentor that I had to be subtle about it because the APs hated it and will give you a bad review for it. If you have a principal who doesn't care or approves of it, that's great. I'm jealous of you and the support you have. I wish I had that as a first-year teacher. NTA. If Amy doesn't like you treating them like animals, maybe she should have come up with a better parenting strategy than just dumping them on other family members. They sound destructively out of control. Too bad you're the only one who has come up with a solution. Yeah, these kids are not gonna be harmed by you training them with M and Ms. If anything, it should show their mom they are apparently able to control themselves. You do you. It's very smart and also hilarious. Also, I think you just might be their favorite aunt. Lol. Go girl. Now that I think about it, that's probably why she kept dumping them on me after the first time. I don't even know if they get candy outside seeing me.